Labour asked to declare lecture-free day over withheld salaries. The first story here. ASU says it will declare lecture-free day across tertiary institutions to express its reservations about the non-payment of its salaries. Moyo Sharia Jao, chairman of ASU in the University of Ilorin, confirmed the development to the cable on Sunday. ASU embarked on strike in February to later suspended following court order. In October, speaking of the planned lecture-free day, Jao said it would not be on the same day for all institutions.
Okay.
They disrespect laws and proposes compulsory training for labor leaders. Chris Ngige, Minister of Labor and Employment, has proposed a mandatory training for leaders of labor unions. According to a statement by the Ministry on Monday, Ngige said this while defending the budget for his ministry before the House of Representatives Committee on Labor. He said the mandatory training will provide the right information for labor union leaders on limits regarding how to make demands. Ngige accused labor union leaders of disregarding the ministry due to lack of knowledge about Nigerian laws, adding that it is dangerous to have inadequate information about the Constitution.
I think the comments by Ngige is rather regrettable. You have a politician that actively tries to do more of politics than broker peace between unions. Unions that have been in existence for years before he was appointed as a Minister for Labor. You now say that those people do not have knowledge of the laws. I think it's regrettable what he has said, but it's one of the bravado that comes with being in office as that of an exalted minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We tend to forget that you're more of a servant than a leader. So it's more of a servant than a ruler. That's what it should be. So if it's a budget thing, he's making proposals. I think it's he's asking that they will give him more money so that he can capture that into his plans for his ministry in the coming year. But it's rather regrettable.
Right, NIS, over 500 national ID cards, PVCs, recovered from foreigners in Katsina. The Nigerian Immigration Service says 513 national identity cards and permanent voter cards have been retrieved from foreigners in Katsina. According to the NAN, Kelechi Adjourns, NS controller in the state, said this on Monday during a media briefing of the newly established Jibia Border Command. He said the Special Border Command in Jibia recovered 202 PVCs and 311 national identity cards from non-Nigerians in that state alone.
So the next thing is, what would they do? Yes, you've made it public. Good, fantastic. You were able to catch them. Fantastic. Are you going to prosecute them? That's one. What measures have been put in place to see that we don't have these leaks again? That's number two. So if these two things are not in plan and focus, then it may just be one of those stories that you hear and people be like, hey, whoa, and that's it.
All right, INEC to Nigerians, help us identify underage persons and voters register. INEC has asked Nigerians to help the Commission identify underage persons on the preliminary register of voters for next year's elections. Festus Okoye, INEC spokesperson, made the appeal on Monday in an interview on TV. Recently, INEC published a preliminary register of voters for next year's elections. Over the past days, some Nigerians have taken social media with snapshots of sections of the voters register showing pictures of persons who appear to be below the age of 18. Reacting to this development, Okoye said the essence of the preliminary voters register for Nigerians to make claims, raise objections, and identify biodata errors. Asked if Nigerians can trust the INEC list of voters, the spokesperson said the Commission cannot claim that the register is free of errors or challenges.
So that's the key thing. It's not for social media trends. It's for you to object if you see something that is strange. Yesterday on the INEC platform that I'm on, the press secretary to Mahmoud Yakubu kept responding to a lot of these queries. That's what it should be. So when you have those, you see something that is strange, say something. Just don't see it and go to social media and trend. Even if you go to social media and tag INEC. Go on Twitter, tag INEC. Just don't drop it and walk away. Tag INEC so that they can see it. That's what it is. It's for claims and objections. So you see something is fishy here. INEC, can you investigate this and give us a response? That's what it should be. It's not for trend, because some people will take it now and take the one that is fake, put everything together so they can trend on social media. It's misinformation.
Appeal Court sacks Akwa Ibom as Akwa Ibom APC senatorial candidate. The Court of Appeal in Abuja has nullified the election of Akwa Ibom as a candidate of the APC for Akwa Ibom Northwest Senatorial District. In a judgment delivered on Monday, a three-member panel of justice set aside the judgment of the Federal High Court, which ordered INEC to accept and publish the name of Akwa Ibom as party's senatorial candidate. The appellate court, in its verdict read by Danlami Senchi, held that Akwa Ibom, being a presidential aspirant of the APC, could not have participated in the valid primary of the party held on May 27 and monitored by INEC. The court also ordered INEC to recognize Iwodom as the authentic candidate for Akwa Ibom Northwest Senatorial District.
There's even a ruling against the governorship candidate of the APC. Okay, I did not hear. Sorry. No verse. So that you don't begin to
I beg you.
high BP.
When you catch them early, you just want to sound like, oh, I read everything. All right, let's look at the next story. Peter Obi knows, but hang on a second. Fabio, you think he's going to get out of this one?
I hadn't reacted before you jumped.
I beg, you were about to deviate, so I have to get you back on track. So, tell me.
He may, because, I somehow find it a bit rattling that the National Assembly were unable to get pre-election matters to end at a certain level rather than go all the way to the Supreme Court. If they had done that, like we have in the case of if you're sacked by a court after being elected, governors and president will go all the way to the Supreme Court. Every other position would end at the Court of Appeal. Perhaps all of that would just save us the stress of waiting for what the Supreme Court would say on a particular issue. Like if the Court of Appeal rules now, assuming that was the last court, it would just be clear that there's a fate for whoever gets whatever judgment. But you would go all the way to the Supreme Court. I don't want to stay here and begin to preempt. We'll most likely appeal it to the Supreme Court, and we have to see what happens at the Supreme Court. But the information we have from the beginning is that he did not participate in the primaries, and that's what the Court of Appeal equally said, that he couldn't have emerged as a candidate of the party when clearly he did not participate in the primaries, in a valid primary. So he would appeal it. Let's just wait and see what happens.
Peter Obi knows that he cannot and will not win, says Soludo. Chukwuma Soludo, governor of Anambra, says Peter Obi, presidential candidate of the Labour Party, will not win the 2023 elections. Soludo said this on Monday in an article titled History Beckons and I Will Not Be Silent, Part 1. The development comes with criticism of the Anambra governor over his recent comment on the worth of investment Obi made for the state when the latter was governor. In a recent interview on Channels TV, Soludo had said the investments by Obi for Anambra are now worth next to nothing. Reacting to the criticism, Soludo said the LP candidate is well aware of the game he is playing, adding that with the LP, Obi does not have the necessary structure in place to win the presidency.
I've been reading, Soludo's reaction. He said he was told not to say anything, but then somebody told him, for the sake of a response, put out a response, and then he put out, like, when you write essays, they tell you write 100 words. And then somebody that overknows will now write 500 and something words. That's what Soludo has done. I think this Soludo thing, the reaction of the Peter Obi fans to everything, it's a problem. Once you are not for Obi, you become an enemy. It shouldn't be that way. Yesterday we saw pictures again of Atiku Abubakar and Tinubu at the airport. Holding each other's hands like couples that haven't seen each other for a long time, and they got to meet again. They were so excited, jesting, but their fans will be at each other's necks and throats. It should not be. But now they have forced the man to come out and reveal a lot of messy things. How Peter Obi had swore to Ojukwu that the day he left Abga will be the day he puts an end to politics. How he knew that he would not get the VP position of the PDP, nor would he get the ticket of the PDP to run as president. That's why he jumped to Labour Party that he knows has no structure. He said a lot of things. So what it means is they just flogged this man from a place of, let me respect my brother. We do know what is happening within us, that this thing may not work. But they flogged him out now to reveal things that have been said in private, and now everything is in the open. And they are still flogging him. See what I like about this whole thing? Stop going after people. If what they have said there's sense in it, use it to your advantage. But if you don't want to do that and you want to keep going after people, it clearly shows that you don't have a strategy. That's what I always say.
All right, let's go from there. Ned Nwoko, Wike is embarrassing PDP's agitations are selfish. Again, Ned Nwoko, businessman and former lawmaker, has accused Nyesom Wike, governor of Rivers, of embarrassing the PDP. Nwoko had earlier called for the expulsion of Wike from the opposition party, but reacting, Rivers government had accused Nwoko of repeatedly attacking Wike because he was stopped from attempting to fleece the Commonwealth of Nigerians to the tune of $418 million over the Paris Club refund to some consultants. Responding in a statement, Nwoko accused Wike of instigating crisis in the PDP since the last presidential primary to Atiku Abubakar, PDP presidential candidate, and the party's vice presidential nomination. Went ahead to say that Wike should give account of the Paris Club refund for Rivers State.
Well, this net thing, you said the first one, it didn't quite trend. Maybe he wants to say the second one if it will trend. That's how I look at it, really. I don't want to dwell so much on Ned. I don't see him as an active PDP member that should, or one with a lot of influence in the party. Perhaps it's just a feud he has between Governor Nyesom Wike and himself over this Barry Club refund issue that is in court. That's really the way I look at it. I want to hope that the PDP will be able to resolve their issue. I hear that talks are ongoing, and party men have expressed huge optimism with the way the talks are going. So let me just stay on that lane and see if they can resolve their issues. It's not everybody that will talk about PDP issue that I would like to react to, no.
All right. Some papers had captured that IU's fate hangs in the balance as negotiations pick up. Well,
depending on what you read and where you read from.
Let's go from there to another. Of course, we know the sources we trust. NBC finds Arise TV 2 million naira over report on Tinubu. The National Broadcasting Commission has imposed a fine of 2 million naira on Arise TV for alleged violations of the broadcast code. Recently, there were reports claiming that INEC is probing a court case involving Bola Tinubu, APC presidential candidate in the U.S. However, INEC had denied the claim, describing a document in circulation which had the Commission's letterhead with alleged information on the purported investigation as fake. Reacting, APC campaign council asked the NBC to sanction media stations that broadcast the report. The statement on Monday, NBC said the fine is a result of the station's violations of the broadcast code over reporting on the false letter.
I feel personally that this fine is absolutely unnecessary. It is hasty and it is reactionary. And it is most disturbing that just when the APC campaign, Presidential Campaign Council, called for the NBC to sanction Channels TV and Arise TV, just minutes after you heard the NBC sanctioning Arise. Why am I saying so? Arise did a retraction of their initial post. I do understand that the media, we have huge responsibilities. Having to even balance out what we see on social media and whether we should use it as content on our spaces. It's every day it's a huge challenge because you want to verify. You even talk to people and they tell you what you're saying is a lie just because they have been so conscientized by social media. Everything trends, it looks real, it looks good, and then you just say, oh, it's true. I understand our space and how difficult and complicated the space is now to operate in. I also understand, based on that, there is a need to double check before you run with a particular story. But you see, they took responsibility. Arise TV took responsibility. The moment they knew that thing that they put out initially, yes, they made a mistake. They retracted. They also apologized to Tinubu on national TV. So why are you still sanctioning them? They made a mistake. They admitted they made a mistake and they did the right thing. So why are you sanctioning them? Are you sanctioning them because you want to make those in the corridors of power happy? That's the way I perceive it. And that's why I say it's unnecessary, it is reactionary, it is hasty, and it doesn't make sense.
I also know whether there were calls by the APC that the NBC should even do the same to other media houses.
No, they've even said it that they would. Tinubu, you said they would sue because of this very rancorous drug baron stuff. But they are not even doing a good job at managing it very well. And see, for me, in my opinion, and we talked about it yesterday on the Spotlight, they're using us to catch crews. If the PDP is dragging this thing, bringing out a lot of things about them, seeming things about Tinubu, take them to the courts.
All right, let's look at the next story about the courts now. Court adjourns Nnamdi Kanu's case indefinitely. The Federal High Court in Abuja has adjourned the matter of Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the IPOB, indefinitely. The matter was adjourned for parties in the suit to give a report on the status of the case. At the court session on Monday, Mike Ozekome, counsel to Kanu, told the court that there are appeals pending before the Supreme Court. The position, therefore, is that the appeal on this matter has been entered at the Supreme Court, he said. And said, I humbly urge this court to adjourn this matter sine die to await the judgment of the Supreme Court. Meanwhile, the federal government has also filed fresh charges against the IPOB leader. When the matter was mentioned in court, Ozekome said he had not been served, with the fresh charge. You might also be interested in noting that Nnamdi Kanu was not available in court as at the last hearing. And part of the issues given for the refusal is his protest against the refusal of the FG to release him from detention as ordered by the Court of Appeal on October 13. Okay,
so the Nnamdi Kanu case for me, I follow it because I just need to know what is happening. And if the Court of Appeal gave an initial ruling that seemingly vindicated him, the matter was taken to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court is to hear it. And the same court now said, okay, he has to remain in detention because the matter has gone to a higher court. He has a sound lawyer in Mike Ozekome that can advise him to say, well, this is what it is. It's the same thing that you read out. that because some of these issues are already at the Supreme Court, it will not be proper for us to be hearing it here. So that's the way I look at this whole thing. I feel if it feels that they could, if you're innocent, they could try everything they want to do to keep you incarcerated. But the fact of the matter is, thank God we have the courts, and the ruling so far, they point to his freedom or his innocence somewhat. Let's also exhaust that option with the Supreme Court and see what happens. If the Supreme Court stands with the lower court that the federal government indeed has skeletons in their cupboards and they've not been able to keep it clean, and they say this man has nothing, the accusations are baseless, they would also say let him go. That's the way I say it.
Full list: Bello Turji, Aliero DHQ declares 19 terrorists wanted. The defense headquarters has declared wanted 19 suspected terrorists while placing a bounty of 5 million naira on each of them. The names of the suspected terrorists are contained in a poster released by Jimmy Akwa, Director of Defense Information, on Monday. The wanted terrorists are said to have been terrorizing Katsina, Sokoto, and Zamfara State. The DHQ promised to reward anyone who has information that could lead to the arrest of one of the suspected terrorists with a sum of 5 million naira. And one of them was some time ago given the chieftaincy title and all of that, attended a wedding with his boys. So, could it be possible the person that delivered the IV to the person might just... I'm just thinking out loud here, but let's share your thoughts on this.
Let's just stay with your thoughts that are all over the place. Let's just stay with them on this story.
Well, don't try getting back, but look at this. Is this some kind of right step? I mean, looking at what we have happening right now within the Nigerian security space.
Well, anything that allows you an advantage is one that I give a nod to. Maybe they've gone underground. It's possible. Maybe some of these groups have gone underground. It's very possible.
When they go underground, do they still attack?
Of course, no. Of course.
So what defines underground?
You've not heard that people from cells, well-secured cells, who still organize attacks. They tell their people to go and carry out the hits. They carry out the hits, but the people are in cell. It happens now. We're talking about advanced climbs, so it happens.
I was going to ask you if this was in your movie or...
No. It happens. Advanced climbs, it happens. But let's come back here.
So why go there if you knew we had nothing to do with that place? Okay. Now come back here. You and your movies. Go ahead.
Oh my goodness.
Are you going to react and move on to the next story?
Well, I was trying to. If you allow me, I don't have the energy today. I've not had breakfast. Please.
Oh, no wonder you've been up over and everywhere.
Don't come on.
Okay, go ahead.
Anything that gives them an advantage. If they say a fine would motivate, bounty would motivate people to come out with information. Oh, it was seen here, so and so day, and so on, and they can protect those people. Why not?
I was going to ask you another question, but you don't have breakfast. Now I understand your issues today. The Punch: Buhari, Obi, Oshiomole to launch new rivers projects. The President Buhari and the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, will be guests the Rivers State governor yesterday week on November 18 and 16, 2020, respectively, to inaugurate projects in Rivers State. The State Commissioner for Information and Communications, Chris Finebone, had last week announced a fresh round of commissioning from Monday, that's yesterday, by the Emir of Kanus, Aminu Bayero. Similarly, former governor of Edo State and as well, National Chairman of the APC, Adams Oshiomole, has also been scheduled to inaugurate the Rume Precon flyover on November 15, 2022. That's today.
Yesterday I kept saying Governor Nyesom Wike invites Obi to inaugurate projects. And I'm like, this is not even a story. This is just a piece of information. There was nothing hot about it. They want to flip everything and make it seem like, Governor Wike has now endorsed Obi. That's why he's bringing him to Port Harcourt and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you guys should calm down. See,
from that story you read, I do not know where you got it from. No, was it just about to be there, or you just picked up that segment?
Somehow, and most times I think you have a problem with hearing because you don't used to hear. You don't used to hear.
I'll forgive you because you've not had breakfast, so it's understandable when you jump around these things like the Kelly you are.
You need to be patient.
So till you have breakfast, can you just go straight up and respond to the story for what it is?
See, I do a good job because you keep interrupting my thoughts.
Kelly, no, I will not allow you run around when you don't have breakfast. Just at a place so you conserve your energy. Talk to me about the story. Good.
Okay. Governor Nyesom Wike equally invited Oshiomole to Rivers State. That did not trend as much as inviting Obi to Rivers State.
Who controls trends?
It's just about, that's the social media influence.
That's
the factor.
So, God. Why do you have a quarrel with the trend?
You're just out for my own. I have to give you one at this point. See.
Oh my God. Okay.
It's just I just see this as a style, Governor Nyesom Wike's style. But there is also something in this. Do you remember the time when there were rain of abuses on Oshiomole from the governor? Today they would, I think that it's tomorrow that Oshiomole is supposed to come. They will hug, Oshiomole will cut the ribbon, they will get into the SUV van together and stuff. The fans should learn, supporters should learn. For these people, it's just politics. We can abuse it, we can say things, but we know where we meet. It's like Soludo said, we know where we meet, where we sit down, where we exchange drinks together. We know those things. You don't even get into those places. Just be a little wiser.
You sound like you've eaten. Let's have a look at the next story this morning. Court nullifies Akwa Ibom APC governorship primary. Others fresh primary within 14 days, says a Kanadofia not APC member. The Federal High Court sitting in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, has nullified the All Progressives Congress governorship primary conducted on May 26, 2022, and ordered that fresh governorship primary within 14 days be conducted. Delivering judgment on Monday, November 14, the presiding judge, Justice Agatha Okeke, also disqualified the governorship candidate of the party, Kanimo Odofia, from participating in the primary, saying that he was not a member of the APC in the state. The court also ordered the Independent National Electoral Commission not to recognize Akan Odofia nor accept him as candidate according to Section 77, Sub 3 of the Electoral Act.
So now I understand why you seem a bit peckish earlier when I mentioned this story. I didn't even know that.
Can you please fly along and respond?
No,
Bro, you would have breakfast in just a bit.
I mentioned it already. Sorry.
Kelly.
Yeah.
Good. So go ahead.
When these things happen,
can you you know what? If you're a caller today and your time is taken, Kelly is the reason. Can you just respond to the issues?
No, I'm just trying to tell you that my sources are long, so I get a lot of information.
I beg. Let's save us that stress. Go ahead.
So we can move on to the next story. I've already talked about it.
Oh, really? You see, that's the problem with you. You assume so much. Final story, okay. Gunmen kill Imo traditional ruler chiefs. That's on the Punch this morning. Gunmen on Monday invaded Opudiagwa community of Inaugurate, local government area of Imo State, and killed 5 persons, including the traditional ruler of the community, Ignatius Shaw. Several community sources told correspondents that the armed youth stormed the King's Palace, where a community matter was being discussed, and opened fire indiscriminately. While the traditional ruler, 2 palace chiefs, and 2 other members of the community died on the spot, others, including the traditional Prime Minister, Chief Stephen Ajoku, was injured. Apart from invading the community, the criminals also stormed neighboring Mbala community, shot a pregnant woman and the local security officer. That's according to the report. When contacted, coordinator of Agwa Development Center told correspondent that the incident had been reported at the police by families of the victims. Sorry. Also, Soludo Voguta, LGA, told correspondent in a telephone conversation the security agent had reported the incident to him. Well, almost like normal statements we have after such sad tales.
Very sad one.